All right, let's take care of this next problem here. And as always, we always want to worry about the story before the numbers. One more time, we want to concern ourselves with the story before the numbers. So here it says, what is the area of just the walkway? So boom, I automatically see that it says area. So we're dealing with area, what shape? I'll answer that in a moment. But more importantly, it says the area of just the walkway. That's very important. It's very important to keep in mind, right? The area of just the walkway. All right. So let's figure out what that walkway is. What are we talking about here? A rectangular garden is 30 feet by 20 feet. Again, don't worry about the numbers. Just draw the rectangular garden. You're good. Rectangular garden. All right. There we go. And now it says 30 feet over here, 20 feet over there. Thank God for technology because I can't draw a rectangle to save my life. And then from there, it says a walkway 3 feet wide runs all the way around it. Okay, one more time. It says again, a walkway that's 3 feet wide runs around it. So we're not talking about a walkway like this. No, we're talking about a walkway on the outside, everybody. On the outside. And that's the biggest key. That is the biggest part of this problem here. Because I'm going to take the 20 feet. Let's move it back to where it belongs, right there. And let's move you over here, back where you belong. All right, perfect. So with that, we have 3 feet on the top, on the bottom, on the right, and on the left. That's what a 3-foot border or a walkway around the garden looks like. So here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just get this area right over here. And to only get the walkways area, we're going to take the area of the purple part, the big rectangle, and we're going to subtract the area of the smaller garden, the rectangle on the inside. That's what we're trying to do. So with that said, my party people, what is the new length and the new width? Because the previous length was 30, but what number do we need to add to it? What do we need to add to it? Yeah, we need to add 3 twice. So that's going to be 30 plus 3 plus 3, so that'll be 6. So that'll be 36. Then for the width, we have 20, but we're going to add 3 up top and on bottom. So what will that be now? Not 20, but the width will be 26. And that's this right there, everybody. And again, the reason that we added twice is because we have the walkway up top and we have the walkway on the bottom. So that's why we add 3 on the top and on the bottom. And so once we take that into consideration, boom, we have 26 for the width. And so boom, there that is. And now we'll calculate. So what we can do to save just a little bit of time so you can practice your calculation skills as well. When we perform 36 multiplied by 26, that's going to give us 936 square feet. And then when we calculate the area of the garden, we have 30 by 20. Everybody, 30 by 20. 30 times 20 is going to give us what? 600, absolutely. And so what did we say we would do at the end? So that way we don't include the garden to only get the walkway. We said we would subtract. And so here it is, 936 minus 600. That's going to be 336 square feet. And there it is. Answer choice A is the answer because, again, we had to adapt and increase each of the sides for that walkway. And once we did, we added 3 to each side, making the length 36 and the width 26. So there we are, my party people. Hopefully we feel good about that one too. All right, so let's check this problem out. Now, as always, the first thing I'm going to do, the first thing I will always do is read the question first. The question sentence, everybody. So if this is your first time watching a video like this, or watching me do this, remember that there's no point in reading the information start to finish. No point. That's just throwing a bunch of information for which you don't know its use. You don't know why it's helpful or what you're supposed to do with it. So it's better to begin with the question sentence. How many more pencils are needed? Think about how simple that sounds, right? How many more pencils are needed? Okay, everybody, you tell me. You tell me. Does it sound like when I read that specific sentence that there's a certain number of pencils that we need and there's a certain number of pencils that we have, and we're trying to figure out how many are left to get? Is that true to you? Yeah. How many more pencils are needed? So there's a certain amount we're trying to reach. There's probably a certain amount that we have, and we got to figure out what that gap is. So that's why it's important to, again, always read the question sentence first. So now we're going to move forward to understanding the context. What information are we given? What do we have? So over here it says, each of 28 students needs 3 pencils. The teacher has 75 pencils. Okay, so think about that. We have 75 pencils. Let's write that down right over here. We have 75. And then how many do we need? Well, what we need is laid out right here. What we need is 3 pencils each for 28 students. Everybody, what am I going to do with the 28 and the 3? Am I going to multiply, divide, add, or subtract to get how many pencils we need? Yeah, and if you're thinking multiply, absolutely correct. 100% correct. So let me go ahead and just fill that in and tell you why. The reason it's multiplication is because think about it with smaller numbers. Let's say you had 2 students. Let's just go ahead and think about this over here and pretend that we had 2 students, each needing 3 pencils. When you think about it, well, that's going to be 6. And you multiply, in that case, 2 times 3. That'll give you 6 pencils that you need. 3 for student 1, 3 for student 2. And so if you have 28, you're going to do 3 for each one of those 28. So that's why multiplication comes into play. So let's think about it here. I'm going to erase this right over here. And I'm going to multiply. But once I multiply, my party people, what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do after I multiply these together? Yeah, we're going to subtract exactly what we said we would do at the beginning of this solution, right? We said if we need to figure out how many more pencils are needed, well, there's a certain amount that we have, and there's a total that we need, and we're going to have to subtract. So we're going to multiply the 28 times 3, and then subtract what we have to see how much is left. Let's do that right over here. 28 multiplied by 3. Then we have 8 multiplied by 3, which is 24, and we'll carry that 2. Then we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Carry the 2 is 8. So there we go. We have 84. So we need 84 right here. And we have 75. So now what I'll do is I will subtract 84 minus 75. What is that gap, everybody? Yeah, the difference is going to be 9. It's going to be 9. You can think about it with mental math. You can add 10 to 75. That's 85. Then take away 1. 10 minus 1, that's 9. Boom. And you're good. But that's what makes the answer here, the correct answer, answer choice A. Notice how I tried to trick you with answer choice B, seeing if anybody would try to think that, hey, as soon as I do 28 times 3, will I get distracted? So I did that a couple of times in today's session, so get ready for some more of that. But there we are. The correct answer to this problem here is answer choice A.